You want your mind to leave you alone? You want your mind to leave you alone. See, mind is very powerful thing. You don't want your heart to leave you alone. You don't want your kidneys to leave you alone. You don't want your liver to leave you alone. You don't want your lungs to leave you alone. You don't want any of that to leave you alone, but you want your mind to leave you alone. What kind of prejudice or what kind of prejudice or what kind of distinction you have against the mind, huh? You want everything to work for you and you include them in the team. You include them in the band, but you want to disband. You see, that's the word I'm looking for. You want to disband the mind. You want mind to leave you alone. Mind is doing what mind is expected. You understand? There is nothing wrong with that. Do not carry grudge or resentment against mind, because mind has its own mind, if you understand. We the yogis, we the meditators, we the sages, we the yogis, we the meditators, we the sages, through our internal observation, through our dedication to our practice, which is Kriya meditation and Raja Yoga and Kriya Yoga, we have realized long time ago that mind has its own mind, which is separate other than you. You see, yesterday during the meditation, yesterday during the retreat, basically, yesterday yesterday during the meditation and yesterday during the retreat, if you remember and if you pay enough focus, yesterday during when I was delivering the words of truth and wisdom, if you remember, I mentioned that basically once you come as human form, human is just a form. Once you come as once once you come as human form, you have memories and you have imaginations, plural. Memories means more than one's memory, of course, you know that. And imaginations, of course, plural again. Your imagination is based on your memory. Through imagination, you can create certain situations. Through imagination, we the human build infrastructure and we create the commodities of luxury. Through the imagination, we human create certain situations. Through the imagination, we human create the commodities of luxuries. It is all happening. It is all happening because of the imagination, you see. So let there remain no distinction among the kidneys, heart, lungs, um, liver, and the mind, because mind is doing what it is supposed to do. Do not think or do not wish that mind would stop. Mind would never stop. As I said, mind is co-creator. Through the imagination, we human create certain situations and commodities of luxuries. We build infrastructure, and we are evolving scientifically and technologically. However, it's important. In other words, I'm saying, but also through the memories and through the imagination, we are also evolving consciously now. If you understand, we are also evolving consciously. Once we come as a human form, we cannot evolve unconsciously. When we were not in the human form, we were insect or we were animals, different other creatures other than the human race. Nature was pushing us. Basically, nature was pushing us little by little, gently, to help us evolve. But now we have evolved enough that we have taken the human form. And when we have taken the human form, we cannot evolve unconsciously. You see, when you have memories, which is stored in your mind also, and when you have imagination, because those memories are giving birth, if you understand, giving birth, those memories are giving birth to um, your imagination, you see. So this is the biggest challenge when we come as a human form, to evolve consciously. And the way we evolve consciously, we still have karma. Every memory and the imagination, and based on that memory, the imagination, we have karma. Karma is past. Karma basically karma is past. Karma is everything that you remember, like the memory. And this memory exists on numerous different levels, not just in one level. You see, this memory, as I said, that you wrap your mind around you. Karma is the memory, the karmic memory is basically what forms basically even a foam. You see what I'm saying to you? And this is what it does. So once we want to evolve consciously as we come in the human form, while we have memories and imagination, the best thing we want to do is to free our will. The will is free only when we do not influence under the karma. If you understand, Jiddu Krishnamurti said it very clearly that bring your awareness to a point. Now, please mind you, watch these words. He said very clearly, bring your awareness to a point where there remains no you and I. Now, you see what he's saying basically, where there remains no you and I. When you become extreme wise, when you are super wise, when you attain super wisdom, basically you think more profoundly. For an average person, for an average listener, these things cannot make sense in the very first place, or to in the beginning. But after a while, when you train your mind, that's what you do to free your will. When you train your mind to listen to you, not the other way, then you become so wise and so potent that you tell people something that you can clearly see, but they cannot. So what he said basically, bring your awareness to a point where there remains no you and no I. You see, you and I is an identification. I is not the God's I. This I is, my name is this. I am of this color, I am of this race, I belong to this country, I belong to this culture, I belong to this society, this is the religion that I follow, and so on and so forth. You understand what I'm saying to you? And so on and so forth. This is the I, basically. Um, More than half of the humanity, or this is the I, basically. More than half of the humanity, or a lot of human beings throughout the globe, are carrying. And then the same you also. Like, for instance, I is for me in all those parameters that I just mentioned, the identifications, basically, the identifications. For you, you have another I in you. For me, you are you. If you understand, it refers separation. And separation is basically based on concepts, the ideas, the identifications that I just mentioned, that I am male, female, I'm a human, I belong to the society, so on and so forth. You see, these are abstract things that nature has no recognition or acknowledgement, if you understand what I'm saying to you. So I'm pouring you pure wisdom to let you know that what happens is, when you bring your awareness, as Krishnamurti said, bring your awareness to a point where there remains no you and I, where there remains just the truth of the moment, and let that truth act, if you understand. Bring your awareness to a point where there remains no you and I, and there remains only truth of the moment, and that truth let that truth lead you, let that truth act, if you understand, where there remains no duality of you and I, because this you and I is basically based on concepts that you have learned. If you were not exposed to human civilization, if you were brought in a jungle or in a forest and you never saw a human in your entire life, you wouldn't have no sense, basically, of anything. You because you do not know the words, you do not know the titles to discriminate, to distinguish, if you understand. So what basically we, the yogis, the meditators, the sages, we, the wise people, tell you, that you can free your will, basically, through your karma, and you can take charge of your mind. You see, that would only, you can only take charge of your mind. You see, in the beginning, when I started this video, what was the time? In the beginning, when I started this video 10-15 minutes ago, or maybe 20 minutes ago, I told you that mind is doing, there is nothing against mind is doing what it is supposed to do. It would never stop, you see. And if you give too much significance to mind, that's where the disaster starts, that's where the demise of the being starts. If you give too much significance, if you profoundly and deeply believe, if sadly and unfortunately and profoundly you deeply believe that what mind is telling you is the truth, then then know this, then realize and know this, that you are done. You understand? Because it would lead you to disaster. The reason it would lead you to disaster, because as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, mind has a mind of its own, you see, and that mind does not show no mercy. It does not recognize or acknowledge your feelings, that how are you feeling if you are governed or ruled by the mind. You see, it has no mercy. So you cannot turn your mind off. It's not possible, if you understand. When we have the distinction, discrimination, the resentment, the prejudice against the mind, that my mind would not stop, you see. So how, when our kidneys stop, when our lungs stop, when our heart stop, when our liver stops, when other organs in our body stop, then mind would stop too. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't even stop afterwards. It would just keep going and going. So the only wise choice we have, we don't want our kidneys to stop or heart to stop. Obviously, it's a given. We don't, because we appreciate the carnation we have been given. But the only choice we have basically to bring peace in our life, the process of life that we are conducting, is to turn mind into our slave. And it is very possible. You see, there is no certain point, or there is no certain standard that one can claim that I have achieved that, because mind would always keep trying, making the efforts to bring you down. Mind is against you. Imagine always that mind is against you, and you basically have to turn mind into your ally. How about that? I'm telling you, mind is against you. Always imagine, and you have to turn mind into your ally. And it is very possible, it is very possible to turn basically your mind to your ally. It is very possible. It's not possible. As a matter of fact, as long as you have the intention to do the right things, nature helps you. As long as you have the intention to do the correct things, to take measure to your well-being, and you become really concerned, you become super concerned with your well-being, nature basically helps you. You just have to become super concerned. And the way you would become super concerned, when you are ready to take charge of the mind. You see, as I said, that God, whatever the concept of God is, God is rather a religious term. We all know that, okay? But I'm referring to consciousness. I'm referring to the sense of self-awareness. I'm referring to chit. I'm referring to sakshi, the silent. You see, silent. Shh. Have you ever been super silent? Shh. So I am referring to that Sakshi, which is a silent witness of everything, which you can refer as God, but the term God, unfortunately, because of the religious sector mostly, has been so corrupted, literally. Good Lord and all that, the term God has been so corrupted immensely that now the truth seekers, or the people who have any common sense, and the wise people, intelligent people, they don't like to use this term anymore, God. Anyway, so what I'm saying, basically, God, or awareness, to make you understand easily, or to make it easy, we will say God is the creator and mind is the co-creator. God creates awareness, the sense of self-awareness, consciousness. Sakshi, the silent witness, basically is the one which is creating, is the one who is creating everything. And in that regard, it has given you mind, in which your memories are stored, and um, you can fabricate your imagination. You can achieve satisfactions through your imagination. You see why I'm saying imagination is also a very powerful thing. These two things are very powerful, which is mostly making your mind, your memories, and your imagination. Now it means when you have the memory or you have imagination, you cannot evolve unconsciously. Now nature is done with you. Nature is not going to push you to evolve unconsciously. Nature is not going to gently push you to evolve unconsciously. Only if you take certain measures in your life, nature would help you, even as a human form. So anyway, we accomplished that we cannot evolve now unconsciously. If we have to evolve, we have to evolve consciously. And how do we evolve consciously? That we have total charge on our memories, and we have total charge on our imagination. And this is most of it is mind, right? And then you create distance basically from the mind. You consider and you accomplish within profoundly that my mind is not my personal mind. It's a separate entity. It has a mind of its own, which always always does not tell me the truth. God creates, you tell yourself basically, God creates and mind co-creates. Mind creates abstract reality. Mind is always in function. Mind is creating all the time, every moment, every second. If you have become a slave, if you have get down, unfortunately, if you got down on your knees and you have surrendered, not the switch surrender, but this is kind of uh, weird surrender. If you have surrendered so much to the mind that you have got down on your knees, then mind is king, you see, creating abstract reality, and you bringing you awareness because you don't have your heightened awareness, constantly bringing your focus basically to give into it, and to give into it whatever it is asking you, constantly bringing your focus voluntarily to give into it and to believe and to listen to what it is telling you in form of images, in form of numbers, in form of all the data that you have gathered. It is it is executing the being, because it does not eat, it has no requirement of food, it does not breathe, you see, it just is. And it creates abstract reality in your mind, and it is always creating, you see, just like God, the consciousness, the awareness, just like consciousness and awareness is always creating, just like that basically it is mind is, as soon as the awareness and consciousness is creating three-dimensional experience and reality around you, it is creating an abstract reality based on the reality of consciousness or divinity. And then it is rearranging, recycling the data, giving you the scenarios, and you, if you have no control on it, it will wear you out, you see, it will wear you out, you would have no energy, it will wear you out, you would have no energy to do anything. So the best thing, if you want to evolve consciously and if you want to evolve successfully, you must, and I'm saying must, I am using the term must as an intensifier. If you want to use consciously, and if you want, if, excuse me, if you want to evolve, if you want to evolve consciously, you must intensify. Again, I'm using must as an intensifier, that I'm stressing out what I'm saying. You must create a distance and turn mind into your slave, a total slave. You see, put a collar on its neck. A total slave. Put a collar on its neck and take it with you. Wherever you need it, you use it. If you don't need it, put it aside. Say, don't bother me. You see, that is the only way you would achieve the results. That is the only way basically that you would get your destination. And what is your destination? To evolve your karma, to transcend your karma. That would only happen, you would only be able not to pay attention to the mind if it is trying to abuse you, when you have no fear in you, because mind would create fear in you. Mind would create an imagination, a scenario. Mind would use your imagination and would create scenario that can paralyze the expression of your life, you know that, if you give in to it. So through a very basic spiritual practice, you gain tremendous results, but yet you are so consumed, unfortunately, in your daily life drama, which is mostly ruled by the mind, that you say, no, I would do it tomorrow, I would become conscious tomorrow, this and that. As I said yesterday in the retreat, that tomorrow basically, if you remember, as I mentioned that yesterday in the retreat, that there is no tomorrow. You see, tomorrow is not promised. By the time you are experiencing tomorrow, it would again now. You see, you cannot get out of now. You remember yesterday or the day before. You try to step out of the Now you can never do that. So it's an illusion. So, yeah, the simple basic practice, the simple Kriya meditation can change the course of your life and bring tremendous clarity. And you can get rid of the fear, you can get rid of unnecessary imagination, you get rid of anxiety. But you are concerned and fascinated that what's going to happen next moment. You are performing a task and your mind is going like, what am I going to do after this? You see how it rules you, how it drags you, and you just go with it. Like, I mean, I don't know what to even say at this point. It's sad, it's pathetic that how you go and how it drags you, because you are performing a task right now, and instead of you paying attention and your focus, your full focus into the situation, your mind is already thinking, what am I going to do afterwards? What am I going to do afterwards? As I said, it's not breathing, it's not getting tired, it has no physicality. It just is, it creates abstract reality in your mind. People develop, when it becomes so powerful and it rages out of control, it gives you mental disorders. You understand? These are the presence of mind if you bank on it too much. Mind is necessary, yes, so you can evolve consciously, you can perform in the society, you can earn a living. An insect, a bug can earn a living. It's not a big deal. But you humans have made a huge deal out of earning a living and trying to find the shortcuts. And it's pathetic, unfortunately. It's not a judgment, it's an observation. That's why you are not evolving as a human race. You are creating the negative karma of all humanity, and you are raising it. That's what you are contributing. And yesterday somebody said to me, I'm going to block you because of your retweet, and it was not very nice, it was very blunt or blatant or whatever the English title you want to use. Yesterday I mentioned that there are certain things that need to be said, and we have learned to cater each other feelings. I said, first of all, I have no problem whether you block me or unblock me. You make no difference in my life. I wouldn't even give a second thought about you. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are, which obviously is subjective. You see, beauty is subjective, I'm telling you the truth. So I said, it doesn't matter how beautiful you are, it doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter how wise you are. The only thing I am concerned, how good you are to yourself and those around you. You see, because if you are good to yourself, it would automatically resonate. You see, you understand. So I said, so long. And once you have made that decision, just remember that you would never be able to add me in as your friend, because the trust is gone now. It doesn't work like that, that you go back and forth. No, once you are gone, you are gone. It's very simple. The reason I even brought that point, it happens almost just about every day. I have no effect. Your feelings, that how you perceive reality, have no effect on me. You understand that? It's very clear. I am not here to cater your feelings. I'm not here to make friends. You understand? I'm not here to. You humans have learned each other to cater each other feeling, and you are living in lies. And these lies are really nasty that you are living in. You see, I'm very outspoken. I'm very upfront. I have told you, if you don't like what I say, help is just one click away. Go ahead and do that. But if you see yourself in my words and you feel overwhelmed and you are not happy with the drama of your psychology and you are not happy with the drama of your mind, it's time to take charge of it. You understand, on the flip side of the coin, because we the rishis, we the sages, we the sannyasis, we the yogis cannot see human race suffering. So remember something, the gist of the message that I delivered today without even having a single thought in my mind. Can you tell that? You rewatch this video, that the words of truth and wisdom I am delivering right now, and you rewatch the entire video, the words of truth and wisdom that I'm delivering right now, and you wouldn't believe that I during this time I didn't use my intellect at all. I didn't use my mind at all, because remember, I got the collar for mind. Like, now I have the charge of it. and it's like a puppy. Wherever I go, I take it with me. If I have to use it to communicate, to function, to earn a living again, I can use it. Otherwise, I just have him sit, just sit nearby like a pet. It's very simple. And it is your pet. You invest, unfortunately, here in the society, or invest mostly. I mean, it's not a criticism, it's not a critic, it's a fact. It's in the history. You people invest, people, the humans invest, have given so much significance in to mind that it is bringing them to their own misery. Unfortunately, it's creating misery on the regular basis. And then when you tell them something, I mean, look at the video games, look at the fiction you read, you see the video games you play, um, the other role plays you do, different type of things which requires your planning and which requires objects outside of you. It's all mind. What do you think mind is? Isn't it? It's all mind. It's anything, anytime when you have to use your intellect, which obviously you do in all these activities. It's all mind. You see, you think they would leave you alone if you are not performing that? No, it becomes active. You see, when it becomes active, then it goes to everything. You see? So remember that. Make some time every day if these words resonate through you, which I'm sure they are. But I'm not attempting to overwhelm you. I'm just trying to tell you the truth and trying to bring some peace in you. You see, in your life, have you heard of peace? You know what that is? You know what peace is? No? Peace, the silence within. You see? Shh. Peace, the silence within. Peace, the silence around. The silence, no matter what's happening, even around, I would even go to that extent. What's happening within must not be affected by what's happening around. That's maximum liberty, that's maximum freedom. That's how a sage lives. So you humans invest, have given tremendous, that's the word I'm looking for in English, tremendous amount of significance. You have subscribed. What was his name? Well, I have no reason, by the way, to remember even his name, that French philosopher. I mean, he was like kind of freelance philosopher, so-called philosopher or self-proclaimed philosopher. The French philosopher, Descartes, or whatever his name was, I can't even pronounce his name right. He said, I think, so I exist. That kind of stupidity and that kind of foolishness actually, unfortunately, creeps in humans. I think, so I exist. Half of the time, I don't think. Right now, I'm delivering this words of truth and wisdom from divinity and sacred, and I've been speaking for last 40 minutes, or at least 35 minutes. I didn't have a single thought in my mind. I'm not using my intellect. I'm not trying to pull words out of my memory. Am I not existing? Or am I not existing? You answer me. You are seeing me. You are hearing the sound of my voice. You are seeing my body. I'm sure of it. Am I not existing? You see? Look, you have heard of Shri Ramana Maharishi? He was also a sage, but very silent. Shh. He didn't speak much. Shri Ramana, Shri Ramana Maharishi said, watch this, it is very important for you to remember. Shri Ramana Maharishi said, never mind the mind. I would give closure to these words of truth and wisdom because I see the private meditation time is getting close. And just so you know, I do not charge anything towards the private meditation session. And we can do it through distance as well, just like I'm delivering you the words of truth and wisdom, you see. Because obviously, spirit or spirituality does not recognize or spirit or spirituality does not acknowledge distance, if you understand. in private meditation sessions, what's the most important thing is the sound of my voice and the instructions I'm relaying, and the silence we mutually, if you understand, and the silence we mutually are maintaining. We are maintaining a mutual silence. So this is what happens. And spirit, spirit or Atman, spirit or Atman, does not acknowledge no distance. You see, the only sole concern I have on this planet for whatever the time is left for me is basically that I have done my job that I have signed up for. So if you misunderstood, excuse me, if you misunderstood something during this conversation, I wouldn't even call it conversation. I would say if you understood something during these words of truth and wisdom that I have delivered to you, you can write me and I can further clarify. But remember something what I have told you about mind. Mind creates abstract reality once we come as human. We have memories and we have imagination. It means that obviously we cannot evolve unconsciously now. We have to evolve consciously. Mind is doing what mind basically is supposed to do. Okay, you cannot turn the mind off, just like any other organ. Your brain is doing what it is supposed to do. You wear your mind around you. However, you can guard your thoughts. You can create sufficient distance from your thoughts. As Gautama Lord Buddha said that nothing is more demented and nothing is more detrimental than to have the unguarded thoughts. Shh, cat, shh, calm down. Shh. Nothing is more demented and nothing is more detrimental than to have the unguarded thoughts. You see, if your thoughts are not guarded, I promise you it would lead us to our demise. I promise you that. If we don't guard our thoughts, the only way we can guard our thoughts is through Kriya meditation, something very generic, something which does not even require anybody outside of you, something which does not even require a single object outside of you, something which does not even require anything, you see, but also just yourself, your true self. That's all it requires. A very simple spiritual practice can change the course of your life, which is Kriya meditation. So, what is so difficult for you to comprehend that? It's very simple. Shri Ramana Maharishi was always in the state of meditation, and he was the one who said, never mind the mind. You see, never mind the mind. It's a beautiful thing because, as I have mentioned in the beginning of this retreat, that mind has its own mind, its own will, and as a being also, you as a being also have your will. The will of mind collapses with your will, and it has the memory and imagination, so it tries to rearrange the data, the numbers, the scenarios, the images, and it gives you a scenario. It can scare you, it can bring fear. Sometimes it's necessary, you see. Sometimes fabricating imagination, sometimes, to create certain situations or for any number of other reasons, sometimes it is okay. But if it is not talking you friendly, then take charge of it. Okay, don't have resentment or prejudice against it. Then just simple, take charge of it. All right, let's do some meditation before my private meditation session come up. You see. Mm. Namaskar.